Let's take a look at Microsoft SQL Server system databases. By default, Microsoft SQL Server provides you with four main system databases. They are the master database, the MSDB database, the model database, and the tempdb database. In Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, you'll be able to find these system databases under the SQL Server instance name, in databases, under system databases. So you'll have the master, model, MSDB, and tempdb. The master database is a database that will store all the system level information of the SQL Server instance. So this will include things such as the server configuration settings, linked server information, logon accounts, and startup stored procedures. If the master database is unavailable for whatever reason, the SQL Server will not be able to start. So when working with the master database, you'll want to always ensure that you have a current backup of the master database. So this will help protect against if the master database were to ever get corrupted, you'll be able to restore it from backup. The MSDB database is a database used by the SQL Server agent for scheduling jobs and alerts. Also, it stores the history of the SQL agent jobs. So the MSDB supports the following: job and alerts, database mail, server broker, and the backup and restore history for the databases. The model database is a database that's used as a template for creating other databases. So when you create a new database, SQL Server will copy the contents of the model database, including the database options, to this newly created database. If you modify the model database, then all the databases you create afterwards will take the changes. Now, the tempdb is a specific and special database that is used in SQL Server. Now, firstly, every time the SQL Server instance is starting, it will create tempdb. So it is never maintained. It is always created once started and destroyed when the server is turned off. Now, when SQL Server starts, it will create the tempdb from the model database. Therefore, the model database must always exist on the SQL Server. Now, the tempdb stores temporary user objects that you'll explicitly create, such as temporary tables and table variables. It also stores internal objects that the database engine creates. So for example, the tempdb will store the immediate sort results for running queries that will include the order by clause. Now, as mentioned, the SQL Server will be recreated. The SQL tempdb will be recreated every time the database is restarted. So since it's a non-permanent storage, you are not able to backup or restore this database. So we just went through a brief overview of the four system databases included, which are the master database, the MSDB database, the model database, and the tempdb database. So our key takeaways: the master database is a database that stores system level information of the SQL Server instance. The MSDB database is a database used by the SQL agent for jobs and alerts. The model database is a database that is used as a template for creating other databases. And the tempdb is a system database that stores temporary objects and is recreated every time the SQL Server is restarted.